Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel and to the first episode of Slicey Boy Saturday. For today's episode, we're going to do a comparison of $20 and under gravity-fed knives, which are good versus which are bad. I finally got in a second gravity-fed knife today. It was about the same price as the other one I got. I think they were both around 17 when I bought them individually is what it is. And you're thinking 17 bucks, like, yeah, it's under $20, but still it should be, half decent quality at least. The there shouldn't be any blade play basically in the whole thing. There shouldn't be any, rattling or anything like that in these knives. But that is not the case with the most recent one I got here, which was a CCKK. It says pocket knife, folding knife. I like this is folding knife, even though it's a gravity fed knife. And it was 9.17 inches fully. I think the D2 steel on it is about 3.5 inches, maybe, give or take. So, and then we also got the 10 Moons one that is a much better quality one for around the same price. And I've had this one for about a month or so now, I think is what it is, almost a month now. So we're going to do a comparison side by side on these things just to show you guys the difference between the two of these knives. So you got the 10 Moons, which looks like this, and it also has a pocket clip on the back of it. You can kind of hear like a little bit of rattling in there from the knife, versus this CCKK. That is just like a red one, has no pocket clip at all on it, which I think is a little bit weird. There should be some kind of a clip on here someplace, probably like right back here would be the best place to have it, honestly. As you can hear, there's like a lot of rattling in that one. And then going on to show the difference between how you actually open these two gravity-fed knives. By the way, there's definitely a weight dispersion in this too, for that matter. And this 10 Moons one is much, much heavier. This feels more like a loaded magazine in your pocket, or even in your hand for that matter, versus this one feels very, very light. And I'm almost wondering if it's not the way that it's lightened, but also the way that the blade opening there is why it's maybe having a rattling issue. Because I looked at it after the fact, and there's a lot of people that have given it 1 and 2 stars on Amazon there because of that, because it has the same rattling issue, it has the same like not fixed in place issue as what it is there when it's completely, folded out basically is what it is there. Then yeah, you would like, and the thing is, like, people said this was like a $10 novelty knife, but it's like it's $17, dude. So it's like, it'd be one thing if it was like an $8 or $9 knife, like that would be whatever. But like the fact that it's over twice as much as that now is ridiculous. So, but anyway, 10 Moons. You simply go, yeah, I'm so I can get my camera there. Simply pop it out like that. That's as far as this one goes. And then you can either do multiple ways. You can push it up, or you can simply let gravity take over and then close it up. And as you can see, there's no blade play on that at all. There's no rattling on that at all. It's just a good looking knife, basically. The only thing I would say it's a little heavy is what it is there, but it's also D2 steel is what it is. So, and we'll do a little, see if I can grab the papers that I have from earlier. Yeah, I'll do a little paper cut here on it is what it is, just to show the sharpness of the edges and stuff there is what it is. Yeah. This paper might not be the greatest, though, is what it is, or the knife just might not be that great out of the boxes. But I guess there's a little bit of somewhat of an edge there. It's just sometimes hard to cut if it's not like razor sharp, basically. Yeah, it looks like it needs to have a couple swipes through a sharpener or something, maybe, to get like that razor on it, and then simply, pop it there and let it go, and you're good to go. Now, by comparison, the CCKK that was the same price literally opens all the way like that, and you have to open it to at least, I believe it's right here, which is really where it should stop. It should stop right there is what it is on that pivot point. And that's what you have to basically open it to, so it doesn't have the locking mechanism thing here in the way to get it. And then, of course, you can either go up on it, or you can simply let gravity do the work there. The problem with that is that obviously just having it out like that right now, you can see it's rattling around, moving it to the opposite side there. You can literally see the pins moving, and then when it's fully enclosed, it still has a rattle because there's really no weight to this aluminum body is what it is here. And I'm thinking maybe that's what the issue is, but I'm also thinking it might be too when you look at these knives side by side, and you can see how that does not have a full extension there. It's just like about 2/3 of one almost, give or take. Or maybe I guess it would be about maybe 3/4, well, yeah, about probably 4/5 actually. But it has like, edges on the side still is what it is. Versus this CCKY one barely has any extra space on the side, and it's just a full, like, straight opening basically. So I'm also wondering if maybe that's the issue there as well. It does sound sharper though, but like I said, like the fact that you can literally rattle it around like that, and you have to like press down as hard as possible to like stop it from rattling at all, is what it is what makes it very dangerous in general. And yeah, I would never want to give this to a kid or even some adults for that matter because it's just, yeah, just not great. And I'm to the point right now, like I might just send this shit back, honestly. So I'm considering it right now because I looked at the reviews and like I didn't pay attention really to the reviews, I guess, to begin with, and it's just not as great as it could be. The issue is I'm probably going to send it back through UPS, or yeah, UPS is my guess. So I need to find the local UPS store there is what it'll be. Has a little bit better cutting edge. It actually does have a little bit better cutting edge than the other one does, but still, like, I don't know if I trust it does what it is. And then also not having a pocket clip on there also is like kind of an issue because like if you actually want to carry it, it becomes a huge problem. And then even like that, like you can't even, like looking at this right now, I can't even pop this thing apart with one hand to get it to basically pop back in there. So yeah, I think I'm seriously gonna consider sending this one back and getting something else for a little bit less or roughly around the same price maybe for a different gravity fed knife because like I said, comparing it, the two of these, like 10 moons is much better right now. And I'm also kind of wondering because I know a lot of these are made in China is what it is. So I'm half wondering if this isn't like the same kind of factories that do like a lot of the gun stuff because I noticed a lot of the gun things, if you ever get like the armorer's wrench and stuff like that from these places, it'll always be like 1 or 2 meters or 1 or 2 centimeters off to where it is like too big to actually fit in like the nuts and stuff there of your um what do you call it now, castle nut and stuff like that's what it is there. And I'm almost wondering if this is the opposite way where it was like it was designed to be like a little bit too small as what it is because it almost seems like that's what it might be honestly, and that's why it's like rattling is because it's like either over on this side or over on this side. Like there's not enough material there or something. Like they did it like when they were CNCing it or whatever it was that they were using machine wise. It's almost like they put it to be like a little bit too small or something instead of being like snugged in just right. And I almost guarantee that taking this apart and like taking the screws out or maybe like redoing the what you call it screw right here is what it is. I guarantee that ain't gonna fix anything. So yeah, I think honestly like this is one of these things where it's like do not waste your money kind of situations. And yeah, I would say definitely like make sure to double check reviews if you're gonna buy something like this for under $20 because you never know, man. You never know if it's not gonna be basically a piece of junk is what it is at the end of the day. So but yeah, fairly disappointed with all that though. And like I said, it's sad because it was supposed to be here yesterday and then they ended up having to be a day late then because of that. And it really does kind of piss me off a little bit because of the fact that it's like, I was expecting to have a good knife is what it is. And knowing that it wasn't great is just absolute bullshit is what it is. Not to mention the fact that like when you look at how it's packed there, like that's how the packaging is. Looks like it got beat up in shipping and stuff. And it also has no tape at all in it, which I think is kind of a slap in the face too for that matter because there are other good knives on the market right now that actually do have that kind of stuff. So I also have two other knives we could talk about right now that are non-gravity fed for this episode. And I think we will do that just to extend this out more than 10 minutes than it is there. So I got a different knife from a company called, what is this company? Master Cutlery. And this is supposed to be a marine knife, but of course, it's, product placement or product licensing is what it is there. This one is an actual folder. This is, I believe it is a 3 CR13 steel, which is similar to what you have in a lot of kitchen knives and like machetes and stuff like that. Got a little window breaker on it, which is not very sharp. And then the blade itself, you got your little USMC lock clip on the back there. Also says USMC. And then the actual, Jesus Christ, actual blade itself is an MTech. So obviously it's got Marines on the one side there, and then it's got the different specifications about officially licensed for their MTech USA, even though it's made in China. So doesn't feel too bad in the hand, actually. I like the way that this is curved like this because it fits right into my pinky is what it is there. So it does feel good. I almost wish there was a little bit of jimping or something right there, though, because that does seem kind of weird to have something like this and not have any kind of like, way to do like a ferro rod strike on it or whatever. So, I mean, I guess technically you could do it on the liner lock there, but I don't really want to use that to do that, obviously. But yeah, it does seem a little, what you call it. That being said, this was, I think, $9 or just over $9 or something like that. So, not too bad. This almost looks more like a weird, like, cleaver design than it does like a sheepshead design. So, let's go ahead and see how the actual slice on this guy is. Looks like there's nothing there at all, actually. So, yeah, that's definitely not wanting to slice through it all there. Yeah, I guess it's got a little bit of an edge. Not much, though. Not much at all. So, definitely needs to get put through a sharpener then, if that be the case. And then you also got the thumb stud deployment too on the side there if you want to do it that way. So that's cool. Yeah, this reminds me very much of the Wally Roll one that I got the other day for like $3 that was normally like $8 or whatever. So the main reason I bought this is I needed to fill out an order for other stuff as it was, and this was the cheapest thing I could find on Amazon to actually do that. So anyway. And then going back to what we talked about yesterday, I didn't want to discuss this one again specifically because of truly how good that is when it comes to sharpness, which is that new one that I got yesterday, or no, I think it was a couple days ago, which was this Siphias, I think is how you pronounce it. And it's that little gentleman's folder. Yeah, I didn't want to pop up completely is what it is there. So it's a nice looking knife. Like I said, little bit of a slimmer profile than I'm used to because I like to have more of a, like kind of a beefier profile, like similar to what that is. And by comparison, you can see how much smaller that is. Two other knives is what it is there, but it does have a good feel to it. And yeah, this one is super duper sharp out of the box there, which the paper doesn't do justice to it. I have a card here that this is what I already used to cut through this thing. That's how sharp the whole thing is now is what it is. But we're gonna do another slice off of this. Yeah, and that's cardstock, baby. So that shows you how truly sharp this knife is what it is out of the box versus other ones are not as good as what it is. So, and this was, I think, $12.60 on sale right now is what it is. So if you guys want to get a good knife, and this usually normally like $20 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, if you want to get a good quality knife out there, like to have for, camping, hiking, whatever it is there. And maybe even just something to have as like your like steak knife, essentially is what it is there around the fire, or if you're making like, you know, pork chops or whatever the case be out in the woods or chicken even for that matter, like yeah, you got your knife for your meat cutting is what it is there. And it's just cutting through that stuff like butter is what it is. So and the card stock does not lie, man. Like that is some crazy, crazy, crazy knife stuff there. For those wondering what this card stock actually is, it was from my chiropractor. They gave me paper the other day that it was there. So, but yeah, let's do it again here. Yeah, that is ridiculously sharp and good. This is also D2 steel, by the way, just like the both gravity fed knives are, but it's a lot sharper is what it is there. So, like I said, I very much enjoyed this one, and for under $13, like this is probably the best one I've had in like the last couple of months. Honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, comparing to all these other guys out here is what it is, and even the gravity fed ones. So, but yeah, like I said, it's fairly disappointing to see what you thought was going to be a decent knife, being that CCKK one, and having it just be a big old pile of crap, basically. So, but them is the breaks, is what it is, and like I said, that's why you got to double check the reviews that people are putting out there, because if people are putting out good reviews, obviously it's probably going to be a decent knife. If they're putting out, anything from like 1 star to like 3 stars, it's not going to be that great, is what it is. So, but yeah, like I said, these little, let's see, this company is called again. Safaris, I think it's how you pronounce it. It's got the little fish there, is what it is. And like I said, it comes with this, comes with their little safety guide thing, which I think is interesting here, where it talks about how to open the knife and how to basically not cut yourself. And if you do cut yourself, like how to, render first aid is what it is there. So that's cool. And then it also has a little packaging, also had their little fish emblemed cleaner cloth here, as well as a thing of paracord. So that can be put into the back here is what it is. Which I don't know if I really want to paracord a knife like this, honestly, just because it's like I can understand like if you're gonna go out in like the woods, like it makes sense, but like at the same time, I'm just like, why would I want a piece of paracord into this knife and then just have it in like its pack, even for that matter? If I'm gonna carry it that way, like it just seems kind of weird. So, but yeah, comparing this to those Ret folders that I've gotten before, like they're probably about the same quality, um, sharpness, but I think the Rets are actually a little bit less quality blade that they're made out of, is what it is for the steel quality, whereas this is obviously D2 on this one. And I think the Rets are like, it's either 14, 11, or it's like whatever the one below that would be, is what it is. So, and also the difference there is that the Ret folders are out of stock right now, is what it is, which makes sense because they were on sale for like $10 or whatever back in the day when I found them through that 704 tactical guy. Versus this, I found my own. So, and like I said, for this specifically, like I don't know what it is with these G10 handles on here. They almost feel like a wallpaper kind of feel to them, is what it is there. They do feel good in the hand, though, is what it is. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. And like I said, having it, like the difference too, obviously, between this and the Ret one is that when you actually look at the pocket clip there, your hand basically naturally goes into the clip, versus with the Ret ones, they actually hurt your hand because of that downward motion is what it is there. So, and it might just be the slimmer profile here that I'm having that like easy issue with to hold what it is there. So, but yeah, like I said, for $12.60 on sale, normally $20, like can't go wrong, man. There's also a different one of these. It's like I think it's like a black scaled one that is like 1370 something, I think is what it is, or something like that. And the other ones are all $20 right now, is what it is. So, like I assume they'll do deals on the other ones at some point down the line, maybe closer to Christmas time or something like that. But who knows? But yeah, if you want the cool little white handle knife, that's what it is. Like, there you go, $13. But yeah, I think that's about it for today's episode of Slicey Boy Saturday, because we hit our 20-minute mark. Here's what it is. And yeah, like I said, to reiterate, the 10 Moons gravity fed knife that was 17 is actually a good deal. The CCKK is not. And yeah, you got to do your research, is what it is. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of gravity fed knives on Amazon that are under like the $30 mark, is what it is there. Like, there's a couple here and there, which was these two basically, and I think there's maybe like one or two others, is what it is. They're not quite as large as what it is. And then everything else is like anywhere from like 30 to 40 plus is what it is there. So, and I'm not paying that for a fucking gravity fed knife. Especially won't pay that for an OTF knife either, for that matter. So, but because the truth of the matter is, like, all these companies should be able to put out a good quality knife for under $20 is what it is there. And really, we should have American made quality stuff for around the $20 mark is what it is as well. So, but yeah, anyway, as long as Honda has a chat tomorrow night on his channel, I will be on that. Other than that, if you guys want to hear from me at all later tonight, I will be my current plan for the day right now is I'm going to go take a shower here in a little bit. I'm probably going to take a nap first, actually, and I'll take a shower in like an hour or so, give or take. And then I'm going to watch the Nightmare Hunters podcast at about 8:30, 9 o'clock night, whatever they do there is what it is there, because they're supposed to be talking about parallel Earths, multiverse stuff, and the Mandela effect. So, and for those who don't know, I like all that stuff is what it is. So, I've always been a fan of like alternate reality is what it is there, and I really do think I truly believe, honestly, anymore we're living in some alternate reality is what it is there, because of the crazy stuff we're seeing every day is what it is anymore. It doesn't make any logical sense otherwise is what it is. So whether it be some Earths colliding kind of stuff or what it is, I'm not sure, but dimension shifting into each other, who knows? But nothing would surprise me at this point, honestly. But yeah, so that's where I'll be tonight, though, is what it is. And then, like I said, tomorrow night, as long as Honda has his chat, I'll be on that then. And then next time you guys will see me would be probably not until Friday of next week, just because I'm not going to be doing the Tactically Cool Tuesdays anymore, because this is going to take over for that now, as it'll be. So, but yeah, other than that, that's where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, you've seen the good, you've seen the bad. It's up to you to go out there, and if you want to buy these things, you can buy these things. If you don't want to buy these things, don't buy these things. I'm just the middleman here telling you, hey, this is my experience with the thing. This is the experience other people have with the thing. Like, maybe don't buy that particular knife is what it is then. So, but yeah, I'll probably do like a review next time around on something else then, which will probably be the neck knives I have now is what it is. And I'm gonna hopefully this week take a bunch of paracord and then take take a bunch of the paracord I got the other day and cut that into like chunks and then put it through a bunch of different knife things there as it will be, so I can actually have it be able to be in the sheaths and stuff like that and be good to go for not only the neck knives but also other knives I have in my collection that are fixed blades and stuff like that I want to take on the woods and have a piece of potential paracord with them just in case if something does happen is what it is there, because the fact of the matter is, paracord has a million uses what it is there, especially out in the wilderness, because it is a made material. It could obviously, like, the biggest use that can be used for is obviously rope is what it is, and keeping things tied up essentially, like whether it be you need to make a spear and have your knife be a spear, like you can literally take a piece of paracord and like cut it and do a chunk or whatever and then just tie it around there is what it is then, and use it as a spear then is what it is, so you got more reach than what it is then. So, or in the same aspect of things, if you need to build a raft because you're out in the middle of nowhere or whatever the case be, you can take it and bind it to a bunch of wood tree branches and stuff like that, or tree limbs is what it is, and make it a sturdier raft is what it is then. And that's just two things you can do, obviously, with it. You obviously can be an emergency fire starter too, for that matter, et cetera, for kindling. So, not to mention tying up like potential like hammock or something like that, or um, even like a tarp or something over you for like shelter is what it is there. So, and there you go. It's like 5 at the top of my head right now is what it is. And like I said, I know there's like several 100,000 more uses what it is there, if not a million uses for it. But yeah, like I can't really think of all of them up here right now, so it is, and I don't really want to waste much more time here, so it is. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, it's been a good one. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I think it was an eye-opening experience, like I said, to see difference between what gravity fed is good or decent and what gravity fed is not good. And like I said, I think this CCKK one is probably going to get shipped back to Amazon and get my money back, so it is there, because I still have the box that came in today, and I could easily, I've already pretty much peeled the stuff off of that right now is what it is. So it would essentially just be putting it back in there, putting the knife in there, getting a code for it, and then simply taking it to an Amazon store sometime this week if I can, and just shipping it back out and then get my money back. That's what it is, because apparently they won't let me do these through Staples. Are just kind of weird, because I could send everything else through Staples what it is there. So I don't know. Like maybe it's just because the boxes aren't big enough to put the thing on or whatever, or maybe they just wanted to have like a bigger box or something. I don't know, but it just seems like kind of silly that you would have all the other stuff be able to be shipped back through local Staples and stuff, but yet when it comes to blades, it's like, oh no, it's got to be the UPS stores, or it's got to be printing out a UPS label or whatever the case be. And it's like, how about no? Like, how about you just take it back? Oh, I fucking want you to take it back, so it is, people. So anyway, but yeah, it is what it is. And like I said, I think personally, I think this Safaris one that I got the other day is probably the most impressive one that I've had in, I would say, about 6 months, honestly. I'm also, actually, before we leave, I don't know if I showed these the other day. These were pretty cool. And this is not, obviously, this is technically Slicey Boy Saturday, but this is technically a Slicey thing is what it is too. This was something I found off of 704 Gears channel, which is the Doddsmez 2-pack compact fire starter is what these are. And I'm not going to obviously spark these because I'm indoors and I have a bunch of kindling around, basically is what it is here. But these things are pretty sweet. So it's basically an all-in-one fire starter. You have, if you twist this piece off right here, you have the little scraper piece there is what it is. And then if you twist the rest of it off there, you have your ferrocerium rod there. And then your empty shell thing can simply be twisted around and done like that. And then you simply take your little scraper thing and you spark off is what it is. So, and I believe these were, I think they're around 10, I want to say, because it'd be like basically $5 per scraper thing is what it is. Scraper fire starter piece. But yeah, like I said, for the fact that it can be interchangeable like that is fucking cool. So, and the fact it also has a little spot for like a smaller piece of paracord, but it also has a huge spot for a larger piece on the other thing. There's what it is. So you can get a better grip is what it is there. So, and these are definitely, I think, good stocking stuffers for people in the future. So, especially for those guys out there, gals out there that like to be doing bushcraft stuff, like who doesn't need a extra fire starter is what it is there. But anyway, till later. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Stay safe. Peace out. Always be carrying all that good stuff. And yeah, never be the victim. And never play the victim, and never have victim mentality if you can help it, because you're the victor. You're the person that is going to be engineering your own life, and it's up to you to make it good. It's up to you to make things right, and it's up to you to make a better life for yourself and your loved ones. Later, y'all.